patiently waiting, it's like an AIDS test. What's the results? Not positive. Who's the best? Pac, Nas, and Big.
Far as I'm concerned, who's the best? Me and Jesus. Washed and dried, so give me all of mine in pesos.
They saying that I'm top one, more or less the best. Let's travel through the vortex when Gore-Tex was a flex.
You see them stats? You know what I am about? I am the champ. I'm Iron Mike and about.
That was it. We was lit. Y'all wasn't even yet. We was 3-6. Wu-Tang mixed with Dipset.
Who be the king of the sound? Bust a bus back to just put a lock on the town.
This goes out for those that choose to use disrespectful views on the king of NY. I'm not saying I'm number one. I'm sorry, I lied. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I'm Cool G, rap greatest of all times, and you can see it. Inside my rhymes, so give a demo. It's a demo.
Welcome back to the biggest hip-hop tournament in history, in which we determine the greatest rapper of all time, given a list of 1,024 rappers in total. In order to achieve this goal, I created 32 brackets and let my fans vote for their favorites. Just like in the previous 2 episodes, I will give my thoughts on the results of the voting. This video is the third part of the 5-episode series and covers brackets 17 to 24. If you haven't seen the results of bracket 1 to 16 yet, then make sure to check out part 1 and part 2. Anyway, let's take a look at the results. Bracket 17. Agree with Pooh's over Boss. Fashion over Mach. Hommy. I'm a fan of both, but Mach has his own unique style. Fashion is kinda generic in comparison. I mean, some people say Mach is an MF Doom clone, but his way of rhyming, his flow and his production is way different in my opinion. He has an interesting character, skill-wise slightly better than Fashion, and I also prefer his music. Fashion doesn't really have that much recognition value when it comes to style, voice and overall persona. Mach is like the Rey Mysterio of rap. He is more secretive, we don't know much about him, and his music is less accessible. But his character and style just grabs your attention and makes you want to learn more about that guy.
Mach cool, nigga. You smoking rocks. I don't want to hear these rap niggas spit a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Rock Marcy, of course better than whack-ass Pooh Shiesty. Joe Budden over Sauce Money, debatable. Something about his delivery and the way he was rapping just pissed me off, and I didn't like him or his music for a good decade. He sounds fake deep and pretentious at times, and is too overconfident when it comes to his rapping skills. At least early on when he thought he was better than most members of the Wu-Tang Clan, Cannabis, legends like Melly Mel and Prodigy when he was ranting about Vibe magazine's best rappers of all time bracket.
You mean to tell me if Method Man was standing in front of my face right this second and we had to rap back and forth, that Method Man would be the victor? Against me?
And even later on when he said he was better than Eminem.
Eminem.
He drew a 1 seed, do you agree?
Yes.
I've been better than you this entire fucking decade.
Well, I'm not gonna rap. Check this out, because I do this. If y'all keep booing, I will stop rapping completely. And that's just it.
Man, really, name me 3 Joe Budden songs. Don't worry, I got time, I'll cut the song.
Sauce Money was the ghostwriter for a lot of rappers back in the day. Didn't have much of a career unfortunately, but his rapping skills were always on point. I would say on the same level as Joe Budden.
For people that don't know hip-hop. For idiots like him who do not know hip-hop.
DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia over Lakim Shabazz. I can agree when we're talking about catalog and overall impacts, but skill-wise I would definitely disagree. Gifts of Gab from Blackalicious over whack-ass Playboy Cardi clone Cochise. Can't disagree. Freeway also better than Camouflage. OG Rappin' Forte, far better than whack-ass Kid Boo. Pioneer Grandmaster Cares over Sofago, of course. Take Off from the Migos over Lady of Rage. How is Left Off beating anybody in this tournament?
I ain't left off Baton Rouge. You think I'm left off Baton Rouge?
Say again?
You say I'm left off Baton Rouge?
What'd you say?
You say I'm left off Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Do it look like I'm left off Baton Rouge?
What'd you say?
Do it look like I'm left off Baton Rouge?
Mumble rap.
I mean, in
Take the cock out of your mouth and speak clearly, young man. Fuck this mumble blah, blah, blah. Speak clearly, let me hear what the fuck you're saying.
Also disagree with Choppa over Big Scoop. NLE, mediocre at best, one-dimensional, made the same song Shutter Flow like a million times now, and his fans are still waiting for more. Agree with Scarface from the Ghetto Boys over Mr. Cheeks from the Lost Boys. Starang Wonder from Original Gun Clappers definitely better than Prince B from P&B Dawn. Also agree with Benny the Butcher over Lil Bibby. Don't care for Tony Yayo and Chingy, both trash to me. But Smoke DZA better than Noah from Cunnilinguists is debatable. Skill-wise he might be superior, but the Cunnilinguists have a far better catalog. Papoose of course better than Fashawn. Joe Budden over Rock Marcy.
You agree with that?
No.
Rock Marcy has the better catalog in my opinion. He's still putting out great projects. Like I said early on, Joe has one of the worst deliveries in hip-hop. Most of his quote-unquote deep and introspective songs sounded fake and unauthentic to me. And it took me a long time to get used to it. And now that I got used to it, I still don't like most of his songs.
But look at this list. These niggas is whack on this list, son.
Okay, point out who you don't agree with the numbers.
I'm better than most of the niggas that on this list. This list is about rapping.
Battle rap wise, I don't think either one of you is top tier. Joe basically embarrassed himself against Harlow the Dawn and didn't do so well when he had his little beef going on with Cannabis, who basically bodied the entire Slaughterhouse crew. Joe might have the better punchlines, flows, and the better cadence, but Rock Marcy is overall the more skilled MC in my opinion. Plus he makes better music. DJ Paul is not better than Gift of Gab, I'm sorry. Not even close, rapping wise. Gab had the better vocabulary, better flows, and always had multi-syllabic rhymes and dope metaphors, while DJ Paul always had nursery rhymes. If they rap back and forth together, both in their primes, DJ Paul would look like an amateur in comparison. Freeway is the more technically advanced rapper, but Rappin' Forte is a legend in the game, and has a higher status overall in the culture.
We gotta strip these people of their legendary status.
But his flow is outdated. Freeway is a lot sharper when it comes to lyricism, technical skills, and flows. Glad that Grandmaster Caz is getting some love, especially after Offset defeated Coke LaRock.
When I see blasphemy like this,
get the Migos the hell out of here. Scarface, of course better than NLE Choppa, not even debatable. Agree with Benny the Butcher over Starang, especially when it comes to consistency and artistic output. And yes, Smoke DZA is of course better than Tony Yayo, the worst member of G-Unit. Round 3. Papoose easily better than Joe Budden, no question.
You agree with that?
No! Fuck.
DJ Paul better than Freeway? Don't think so. At least not skill-wise. Music and impact-wise, definitely. I also agree with Scarface over Grandmaster Caz, although Grandmaster Caz is a pioneer that's been around since 1974. He basically helped to make hip-hop what it is today. Without him, the first hit song in rap history probably wouldn't exist. I mean, there was Kington III by the Fatback Band, which was the first official rap song in history, but it wasn't really a hit. The first hit was Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, which was written by Grandmaster Caz. Not intentionally though. Big Bang Hank actually stole Grandmaster Caz's lyrics, grouped together with Wonder Mike and Master G, and made a hit out of it behind his back. Back then, Grandmaster Caz called himself DJ Casanova Fly. Hank didn't even change that part in the lyrics where he was supposed to spell his own name in the song.
Check it out, I'm the CASN, the OVA, and the rest is FLY.
I wrote everything Hank said on Rapper's Delight, all right? I'm the CASN, the OVA, that's my name, Casanova Fly, okay?
I agree with Ben the Butcher over Smoke DZA in the final matchup of round 3. And in the semifinals we had Papoose over DJ Paul, which I agree with, and Scarface over Benny the Butcher. With Scarface being the legend and wordsmith that he is, I can't be mad at him for kicking out Benny, who's one of my favorite rappers out right now. And in the finals you picked Scarface over Papoose, which I can agree with. Nobody in this bracket comes close.
I rap better than most of these niggas. Whoever constructed this list, and then they're not even man enough to put their name up here. So when I tell them that they can suck dick, I'm wrong?
Papoose made it to the top 64, and Scarface to the top 32. Bracket 18. One Hit Wonder Jibs over Ladybug Mecca from Diggable Planets. Definitely disagree with this one. Diggable Planets was one of the best hip-hop groups ever. What has Jibs done for hip-hop aside from Chain Hang Low, which is not even worth mentioning? Agree with King Lowe's over Clef Dallas from Ill Biscuits. Busta Rhymes easily better than whack-ass Lil Twist. Lunch Money Lewis and Kamaya are both trash to me, so I don't care about them. But I agree with Warren G over AMG. Also with Edo G over Key Gluck. Action Bronson definitely better than G-Eazy, but then you pick Casanova the Dawn, who's basically another Tupac clone, or a Walmart version of a Tupac clone I should say, who came out years after Pac passed, rapping as the quote-unquote reincarnation of Machiavelli, basically trying to mimic his flow, voice, delivery, his cadence, and more or less the subject matter. And then people created conspiracy theories about him actually being Pac who faked his death, to rap under a new alias. I actually called him one of the worst rappers of all time at one point. Michi is far more talented and at least he's original. I agree with Havoc from Mobb Deep over Chinks, Lil Uzi Vert over Murder Mook. Murder Mook, one of the illest battle rappers ever, loses to whack-ass Lil Uzi Vert, who, by the way, doesn't even write his own whack-ass lyrics. He has ghostwriters like most rap artists today that make quote-unquote vibe music. Lil Uzi Vert's ghostwriters have the second smallest vocabulary in all of hip-hop. He has a weak subject matter, never had a punchline in his life, and makes trash music in my opinion. I mean, the music part is of course subjective, but aside from his melodies, catchy autotune hooks, and nice beats, he doesn't have much to offer. You can't tell me that he stands out in any aspect of rapping. In the positive way, I mean. When he's standing face to face with a real lyricist, what is he gonna do? Sing? You're trying to tell me that he can out-rap this man right here?
Pardon me for being type hurt when I did the site search. You questioning my worth. If you want to fight first, then let's get it. Knife work, get ripped like a tight shirt. When you stretching it, pipe burst, nigga. You light work like electricians. Take your hands off your hip, nigga. Listen.
Everybody wanna be who? Yeah, wait, yeah, Lil Uzi, like your girlfriend, my groupie. Yeah, wait, fuck her right up in the coochie, like yeah, walk around diamonds on me, like what?
My whole gang bring the drama to your doorstep. Can't take losses, the costs get offset. 3-piece suit in a box, looking y'all fresh. Next step, gotta get the revving like a Corvette.
Running through all of these groupies, yeah. I might just put my yeah, right in their coochie, like yeah. I feel like Boozy with all of this coochie, all of these diamonds and diamonds, yeah. All of these diamonds, they dancing.
These niggas is whack on this list, huh? This list is about rapping. This list is not the best artist.
No, it's the best rapper.
This is not who has the most hits, who has the most money. This is not about who sells the most. This is about rapping, no?
So you don't write your own lyrics, have the second smallest vocabulary in hip-hop, no technical skills, no punchlines, weak flows, no lyrical diversity, weak storytelling, nothing that makes you stand out in terms of rapping skills, but you can sing. That's your argument.
Exactly, nigga.
I'm confused, yo.
INS the Rebel, far better than Shy Glizzy. Flat Earth conspiracy theorist and pop rapping cornball B.O.B. is not better than C Murder. Fuck outta here. Agree with Steel from Smith & Wesson over Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys. Biggie over No Hit Wonder Hitman is kinda obvious. And I'm glad that DJ Hollywood is getting his flowers. We're lucky that Lil Yachty doesn't have a cult-like fanbase like Playboi Carti, Lil Uzi Vert or Young Thug. Or else my old ass would have to worry about him beating the Notorious B.I.G. in the next round. Not even joking, something similar to this will happen in part 4 of this tournament.
Overrated.
But yeah, Lil Yachty is the definition of whack. If you Google the term whack rapper, first thing that will pop up is a picture of him and 50 rappers that look and sound similar. I agree with DaBaby over Duke Deuce, and that was it for the first round. In the second round, I agree with all of your picks. King Los over Jibs, Busta Rhymes far better than Lunch Money Lewis, Warren G, music and impact wise better than Edo G, Action Bronson far better than Casanova the Dawn, Havoc from Mobb Deep better than Lil Uzi Vert, alhamdulillah. Inspectah definitely better than B.O.B, same with Biggie and Steel, and the last one is debatable. DaBaby is mediocre at best at rapping, very generic and one-dimensional in terms of flow, subject matter and style. DJ Hollywood is one of the first MCs in the game and has a far higher status and impact on the genre than DaBaby, but skill-wise he was mediocre I would say. The lyrical complexity in the 70s isn't comparable to anything after 1987, when OGs like Rakim revolutionized the game. So DaBaby could technically out-rap him, even though his lyrics are somewhere between trash and mediocre for today's standards.
I just want people to respect the high-level rap ability.
Nah, for sure, don't get it twisted, you know what I'm saying? I like to turn people up, I like to make people feel good, but at the same time, you're gonna have to go get Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, for me, Nas, Jay-Z.
No, nigga. No.
Quarterfinals. Busta Rhymes definitely better than King Los. Warren G, in terms of impact, importance, and music, definitely superior to Action Bronson, but lyrically he's not quite on his level.
You can never fuck with my pen, my nigga. My sword, my blade, whatever you want to call it, I'm too nasty for you. This is why the fuck you look up to me. It sound like me.
I know many people accuse Action Bronson of biting Ghostface Killer's rapping style, flow, and his voice is also very similar, but you can't deny that he can come up with some clever lines and stories compared to Warren G, who's much more laid back and smooth with his rhymes and flows. Havoc better than INS is debatable. I think as far as rapping skills and lyricism goes, Deck is far better. His pen game is definitely underrated. This man never had a whack verse. You can argue about who made the better music, Wu-Tang or Mobb Deep, both top 10 rap groups of all time in my opinion. I actually did a video on that which you can check out if you want. But Havoc's contributions to Mobb Deep surpassed that of Deck's for the Wu-Tang Clan. Part of a reason for that is of course that Havoc is also a producer. But we don't care about producing here, we only care about rapping. Another argument for Havoc's contributions is of course the fact that he was part of a duo, and Deck was a member of a supergroup of 10 top-tier lyricists. Deck didn't get to rap on every song of the group, while Prodigy and Havoc were going back and forth together on most of their songs in their catalog. This might also be an argument for the overall impact. Not many people can name every single member of the Wu-Tang Clan, but I think it's more likely that people can name the members of Mobb Deep. As a group overall, I would say Wu-Tang has the bigger impact. So yeah, in terms of skills, Inspectah Deck, of course. In terms of impact, just for being part of the more impactful group, also Inspectah Deck. In terms of music, it's of course debatable. I love both and wouldn't pick one over the other in terms of catalog. Biggie over DaBaby is self-explanatory. I agree with Busta over Warren G and Biggie over Havoc. And of course Biggie also won the finals. So Busta made it to the top 64 and Biggie to the top 32.
Plats, baby, straight plats, homie. Baby, baby.
Round 19, Mike D from the Beastie Boys over Drakeo the Ruler. Missy Elliott over Tom MacDonald. Thomas fucking MacDonald. He looks like a mumble rapper, but he's fuck out of here.
Corny ass nigga.
Mase over the God Fahim. I'm a fan of both, but Fahim is probably the better lyricist. Although I don't know how a battle between those two would look like if both of them were in their primes. Mase was more aggressive and lyrical early on, back when he was Murder Mase. He kind of switched up his style when he got more commercial with Puffy. I always underestimated Mase before seeing him destroy Cameron 20 years after his prime. While Killer Cam was in better shape, I would say, Mase was already done with rap. Fahim doesn't have the hits Mase has, only underground joints that rap geeks like me wanna listen to. Doesn't have the status, the importance to the game, and also zero impact. In terms of style, he doesn't really stick out as much compared to other rappers of the same bracket. Mase's sound was more unique and he was more versatile throughout his career in my opinion. Agree with Chance the Rapper over Kia, Joel Ortiz over Young Gravy, Conniver from D12 over Post Malone, Stickman from Dead Prez over Special Ed, although it's debatable in my opinion. Special Ed's rapping style is kind of outdated, but he's much more of a legend than both Stickman and M1 from the group. And I think his flow impacted the game more in general, but he's less skilled and probably would lose in a battle. Agree with Joyner Lucas over YNJ, Saba over Moni Love, but Silk the Shaka over Aaron May? Silk was always a prime example for a whack MC. Whack bars, weak cadences and flows, the prototype of an offbeat rapper, with rhymes and flows that are all over the place.
Let's start it. It's like I can't finish. They take my going to war. If you know you can't win it, we'll make our money no game. And I'll be seeing shit that ain't there. It ain't there, but I'll be seeing shit. I'll be in places without being seen there, but being seen in places without even being there.
Okay.
The only reason he ever had a music career was his big brother Master P, owner of the record company No Limit Records. Master P opened doors for him, promoted the shit out of his music, and even made him appear on the cover of the Source magazine, next to giants like Corrupt and DMX. He basically took the spot of 5 legends: Big Pun, Cameron, Cannabis, Noriega and Capodanna. They all deserved it more than Silk, all leagues ahead of him skill-wise. But I guess they wanted to represent the South. You know, Corrupt as a representative for the West, X for the East, and Silk for the South. Silk as the face of the South. Hilarious. But to be completely honest with you, I like his music more than Aaron Mase, even though he's the old school version of Blueface. Smooth B from Nice and Smooth over Lil Dap from Group Home. Debatable, but I think I would pick Lil Dap instead. Prefers style and music, and he's also more skilled in my opinion. Wiz Khalifa is definitely not better than Timbo King. He's mediocre at best, doesn't stick out in any aspect of rapping, gets carried by his beats, only has a couple of decent songs, gets help from ghostwriters, and is just overall boring and uninteresting to me. Pusha T over Drag On is understandable, but Shaq West over Rock from Helter Skelter is ridiculous. Shaq is just a one-hit wonder, doesn't have any talent or rapping skills whatsoever. Rock, on the other hand, made some amazing music with the late great Sean Price, OGC, and the remaining members of the Bootcamp clique. Lauryn Hill over Low-Key is self-explanatory, and I also agree with Granddaddy IU over Wiley. In round 2 we had Missy Elliott over Mike D, which is agreeable, but I definitely disagree with your ranking for Chance the Rapper and Mase. How is Chance better than Mase? The guy who killed Cameron.
Mase! I love Mase.
Mase is dope.
There was a time when I finally got past Chance's corniness, his annoying voice, delivery. That was like in 2017, 2018, you know? I'm not the biggest fan of fake positive rap, but at one point I got used to it, and then his long-awaited debut album, The Big Day, dropped, which is one of the worst albums I've ever heard. The first album in most cases is the best, and it's slowly starting to go downhill after the sophomore project.
At the end of the day, chances is just to be a friend.
I met Kanye West, I'm going to fail.
I doubt that he can make a comeback. I just can't ignore his annoying voice and his corniness anymore. It got back on my nerves again. So, right now, I don't even want to hear anything new from him. Kinda like Hobson, my opinion on them changes like every year. It's like a roller coaster. Chance is back in the trash category for me, so I gotta go with Mase in this matchup. Kanaiva's not better than Joel Ortiz. Come on now.
That already, this is all automatically a disqualification of this tournament.
So Slaughterhouse, you got half of the best rap group ever fucking invented not on the list. I'm offended.
Joyner Lucas over Stickman.
Spank you right now, young nigga. Don't make me do it, young nigga.
Joyner fell off hard. And just like with Chance, the corniness got on my nerves over time. And his music is very generic now. Like every song sounds the same and touches on the same subjects. I mean, it was always generic, but now it's getting repetitive. No diversity at all. And his personality is just boring. He's also a sellout. At first he was a lyrical miracle dude that disses every trap rapper on their own beats. And now he's making songs with everyone he called trash a few years ago, doing the exact same things he criticized in his disses, like flexing ice and jewelry. Dead prayers all day. Fuck outta here, Joyner. Saba, of course, better than Silk the Shocker, but disagree with Wiz Khalifa over Smooth B. Like I said earlier, Wiz Khalifa has no strengths. He's just mediocre at everything. His career was over once his beats worsened. Smooth B is a legend, a far better MC in my opinion. Pusha T over Shaq West, of course, and also agree with Lauryn Hill over Granddaddy IU. Round 3. Missy Elliott definitely better than Chance. Joyner. Joyner also better than Kanaiva. Oh, come on now. I hope you're not trying to sabotage this tournament. How is Wiz Khalifa in the semi-finals? Are you kidding me? Saba is a far better lyricist and rapper in general. Fuck outta here.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no.
Semi-finals. Joyner over Missy Elliott.
Bitch ass nigga, pussy boy, nigga.
He doesn't come close to her in terms of catalog, hits, style, impact, originality, and diversity. Her music has aged like fine wine for me. I don't go back to a single Joyner Lucas song in 2022. Every music video she did back in the day was iconic. Joyner's videos look all the same to me. Just like his songs, painfully generic. Got sick of it real quick. Loved Missy's unique style, even when I was a kid. I basically grew up with her music. You know, DMX, Eminem, Ludacris, Missy Elliott, 50 Cent, and later on The Game. That was my era. I think she had quite an impact on the game since then. Not only for female rappers, but also for male artists like Ski Master Slump God, who reused one of her beats at one point. Her beats were fantastic back in the day. Timbaland did an amazing job production-wise. Joyner Lucas is now trying his best to be a Walmart version of Lil Baby. This motherfucker has no creativity at all. Missy Elliott has everything. Style, flow, originality, a dope catalog, impact, basically everything Joyner Lucas lacks. The whole package. Glad that Lauryn Hill finally managed to eliminate Wiz Khalifa after 4 rounds. This man managed to defeat 3 rappers on his way up. Unbelievable. And I'm more than happy that she won in the finals. Sad that we didn't see Pusha T or Missy Elliott in this round.
This is crazy.
Joyner somehow made it to the top 64, and Lauryn Hill to the top 32 brackets. Bracket 20. Agree with Young MC over Kangol Kid from UTFO. Dougie Fresh over King Son. Not in terms of lyricism, flow and technical skills, but in terms of impact on hip-hop, what he has done for the culture, and his overall influence specifically on the 5th element or the 5th creative outlet of hip-hop, which is beatboxing. Some of the pioneers say knowledge is the 5th element and that beatboxing came later on, so the last element is not clearly defined. There are also people who say that hip-hop only has 4 elements, leaving out knowledge and beatboxing entirely. But Dougie Fresh was definitely a pioneer and basically the face of that outlet. I love his overall style and how he could go back and forth between rapping and beatboxing, most notably on the song The Show with the king of storytelling, Slick Rick. Later on in his career he switched up his flow and style and became more lyrical as he was turning more and more into a hardcore hip-hop artist. If we're strictly talking about rapping skills and battling, then King Son would be my pick. Beatboxing is its own art form within the culture, so I don't know if I should give bonus points for being able to do both at the same time, when this tournament is only about rapping. But in almost every other category that doesn't revolve around lyricism and technical skills, I favor Dougie Fresh. Agree with Lil TJAY over Toby Lou, although I'm not a fan of either one of them. Disagree with Big Ox from the Slee Stacks over pioneer and godfather of rap, Spoonie G. Black Poet of course better than 22 Gs. Locksmith leaks ahead of Wack MC Lil Keat. Afu-Ra over King ISO, but I disagree with Childish Gambino over Tone Deaf. Tone Deaf is a better lyricist, has better flows and more technical skills, but both are more on the corny side for me. I can't listen to them on a regular basis, and only a selected few songs. Blastmaster KRS-One over J Hus. Grand Pooba from Brand Nubian of course better than Viper, who is kind of a meme rapper with the weirdest fanbase ever. They are almost like a religious cult. They all know that he's trash and that he has little to no rapping skills, but they claim the opposite and try to be edgy. It's trash and that's why I like it type fans. Online they try to convince everybody that he's the greatest rapper of all time. They write nerdy 10-paragraph essays to convince you that your opinion is wrong. Nothing better to do than to troll random people on the web for a few hours every day. It all started as a joke I think, just like with Lil B. And now you don't even know if they're serious or not. MC Supernet of course better than Lil Flip. Twista, skill and music-wise superior to A Boogie. Don't care for China Mac and Cowboy. China Mac's music is boring and has nothing likable about it. And Cowboy is just ass in general.
Cowboy. Never heard of him.
Stormzy definitely better than One Hit Wonder Mims. Also agree with Chip Fu from the Fushnikins over FGB Duck, but have to disagree with the last one. You can't tell me that Genesis Owusu is more skilled than Slain. Come on now. Round 2. Dougie Fresh over Young MC. Lil TJAY over Big Ox. Highly disagree with this one. He doesn't have any rapping skills that stand out. He also sounds like a whiny little kid on autotune. Not the type of music I'm into. Black Poet vs Locksmith is debatable. Locksmith might be the better lyricist, but he's one-dimensional and doesn't have much originality. I prefer Black Poet's flow and music in general. Afu-Ra should have won against Childish Gambino in my opinion. He's very underrated, lyrically leagues ahead of Childish Gambino. Music-wise of course debatable, but I go back to Afu's catalog more than Gambino's. Like, he doesn't have an album on the level of Body of the Life Force or Life Force Radio. No song on the level of Defeat, which features an amazing primo beat, dope bars and smooth flows. Whirlwind Through Cities, Equality, Mic Stands, Lyrical Monster, Boulevard, just check out his catalog. Gambino's music grew off me over the past few years. Most of his songs are cringe and annoying to me. At least right now as I'm recording this. There was a time when I enjoyed his songs. Maybe in a month or so I might change my mind on him again. Just like with Chance, my opinion on him never stays the same. KRS vs Pooh, have to go with Chris. Grand Pooh and Brand Nubian are phenomenal though. agree with Twista, the king of Choppa style rap, over MC Supernet, the king of freestyling. Stormzy, of course, better than Whack-Ass Cowboy, and Fu is far more skilled than Genesis Owusu. Quarterfinals. I actually agreed with all of your picks in this round. Dougie Fresh over Lil TJAY, Childish Gambino artistically better than Locksmith, KRS-One over Twista, and the last one is of course debatable, but I feel like the music of the Fushnikins didn't age as well as most of the records from their era. Their style is a little dated. Stormzy, on the other hand, will continue to influence more generations, at least in the UK. So we have to give this round to him. Semi-finals. Childish Gambino is the better lyricist compared to Dougie Fresh, who, like I said, is the pioneer of 20th century American beatboxing. His pen game is not really groundbreaking or game-changing, neither is Gambino's, but Dougie Fresh is definitely a few levels above him in terms of hierarchy in hip-hop. He's definitely more important to the culture. Gambino's music isn't for everybody, but I would agree that he's the more technically advanced MC. So when it comes to just rapping alone, I would agree, Childish Gambino is indeed the better rapper. I still prefer Dougie Fresh's music though, but I'm 98 years old, so whatever. KRS-One beating Stormzy needs no explanation, and of course you also won the finals. Gambino's not on the level of KRS-One, in no aspect of rapping, but he at least made it to the top 64 and KRS to the top 32.
Battle over.
In round 21 we had Prodigy from Mobb Deep against Jay Spencer. I'm a fan of both, but Prodigy is one of the greatest ever, so let's give this round to him. Disagree with Chica over Charlie Baltimore. Her music is just bland, generic and boring in my opinion. Kid from Kid and Play, definitely better than Doughboy, same with Boss and CJ, also with J-Leg and YZ. G-Eazy over Psycho Les from the Beatnuts is debatable. I'm not much of a fan of G-Eazy's music, at least not anymore. The Beatnuts at least made undeniable classics. Watch Out Now and Off the Books with Big Pun and Cuban Link are two songs that I recommend you checking out. Steady B versus
When I glide, I slide, might slip around.
No explanations needed. Same with the next matchup, Polo G versus Lil Mama. Danny Brown better than Dana Dane. Never really liked Trey the Truth's music, but rapping wise he's definitely better than Kodak Black.
I'm better than Tupac and Biggie.
Hey, your mama ain't shit, your daddy ain't shit.
RZA of course better than Ocean Wisdom, but the Rez Deshawn is not better than Iron Solomon. Come on now. But I agree with No Name over Sonya Blade, also with 8 Ball over Black Youngster. Billy Woods from Arm & Hammer, far better than One Hit Wonder Stay Solid Rocky. And the same goes for Devin the Dude and Honeycomb Brazy. In the second round I agreed with every single one of your picks, except for the matchup between No Name and 8 Ball. Prodigy over Chica, Kid from Kid and Play over Boss, J Electronica far better than G-Eazy, Polo G over Steady B, same with Danny Brown and Trader Truth, RZA and Derez Deshawn, and Billy Woods and Devin the Dude. Quarterfinals. Agree with Prodigy over Kid from Kid and Play, J Electronica leaks out of Polo G, RZA both music and skill wise better than Danny Brown, and you're definitely tripping with 8 Ball over Billy Woods. Semi-finals. Prodigy defeated J Electronica and RZA eliminated 8 Ball. Agree with both rankings. In the finals you picked Prodigy over RZA, which I agree with.
What was wrong with that? I like Prodigy.
Maybe not in terms of vocabulary and rhyme schemes, as RZA is much more of a wordsmith than P, but Prodigy has the better punchlines, stories, the better flow and the better cadence. His style and flow is much more digestible, and he shines on more songs than RZA in my opinion. Not just on his Mobb Deep records, but also his solo work and his features. RZA has an unorthodox flow that many rap fans have a problem with. Me personally, I love his rapping style, but I can understand people who don't enjoy his verses as much as the ones from other members of the Wu-Tang Clan. The people who pick RZA as their favorite rapper of the Wu-Tang Clan are in the minority. I think Method Man, Ghostface Killer, Raekwon the Chef, GZA, ODB and Inspectah Deck were far more popular, even though he's the leader of the group. And that's because of how well they can flow over every beat. Excluding ODB of course, he's just unpredictable and crazy with his flow. RZA kind of goes overboard with his rhymes and the amount of syllables he puts into a single bar. and his cadence is just all over the place in the end. Best example for this is the song The Anthem, with RZA, Tech 9, Eminem, Exhibit, Pharoah Monch, Kool G Rap, and KRS-One. RZA got outshined by pretty much everybody, and his unique rapping style doesn't work on every beat. Him and ODB are probably the two members that stick out the most when it comes to quote-unquote being offbeat. But RZA is definitely up there with the greatest, bringing all members together like the Avengers, and giving us classics even without the group. He has dope solo records, and also hits with the Gravediggers. At the end of the day, both Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang are among the 10 best rap groups of all time, so RZA not being able to shine as much as Prodigy is not even a big deal. Both are legends and both are GOATs. RZA made it to the top 64 and Prodigy to the top 32. Bracket 22. Yaki Gaddafi from the Outlaws over one-hit wonder T-Wayne. Sway Lee from Ray Shremmerd better than Merkules. Definitely disagree with this one. I'm not a fan of either one of them. Merkules is kind of corny to me, and his music is not my cup of tea. Sway Lee isn't any better. I don't bump a single Sway Lee song. But in a rapping contest, I would put my money on Merkules. Kool G Rap, far better than Black Haze, who's one of those Tupac copycats that mimic Pac's flow to be part of the whole controversy surrounding his death. He basically tried to fool little kids like me a few decades back to make them believe that Pac actually survived the drive-by shooting and that he's just rapping under a new alias somewhere safe from the feds. G-Rap is one of the goats of this culture, so Black Haze is not much of a competition. Percy P, far better than Gorilla Zoe. Also agree with K-Rino beating Collaborate, but then you put whack-ass Waka Flocka Flame over Prince Po from Organized Confusion. Now, I'm assuming that you guys didn't know who Prince Po is, so I'm not gonna roast you for that, but Waka Flocka Flame was one of the worst rappers of his era, and now he fell off, so he's even worse than before. He even admitted himself that he's whack.
I was a whack rapper. Like, I knew I was whack, but I was real. See what I'm saying? My realness overcame my whackness.
I'm a whack rapper compared to the people I look up to. Let's be real. If me, Nas, and KRS-One get on the track, who's gonna have the wackest verse? But if they get on an 808 beat, I'm gonna annihilate them. That's when a whack rapper wins.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
MIA. She might be the more polarizing artist, but she ain't out-rapping anybody. Come on now. Common Sense, far better than Lucky, same with King T and Dino. Flavor Flav from Public Enemy over one-hit wonder Designer. Nicki Minaj, as much as I dislike her and 99% of her catalog, is indeed more skilled than MJG. Took me almost a decade to appreciate about 1% of her catalog. Overall, not my cup of tea, but I've praised her a few times in the past couple of years, for dropping like a handful of listenable songs. She has like 3 styles of rapping. The first one is the annoying and naggy Barbie girl that raps with a high-pitched voice. The second one revolves more around singing with autotune. And the third one is when she's trying to sound tough, like a gangster. I can't stand any of those styles. And the delivery is terrible too, along with her subject matter. Agree with Shad over Nino Man. Kevin Gates vs Gil the Kid is debatable. I personally think Kevin's music is garbage, and very generic. Mediocre at best lyricism, and boring, repetitive and one-dimensional song concepts. Gilly the Kid's music is also not my cup of tea, but lyrically he's superior to Kevin Gates. He also ghost wrote for Lil Wayne at one point. More about this in part 2 of the tournament. Wise Intelligent from the Pooh Righteous Teachers, definitely better than Corey Guns. Same with Eve and BK the Ruler, and Redman beating DaBaby shouldn't be a surprise either. Anyway, round 2. Gaddafi from the Outlaws vs Sway Lee. Of course I will go with Gaddafi. I'm also fine with Kool G Rap over Percy P, but Waka Flocka Flame defeating K-Rino is laughable. K-Rino is a lyrical beast. Who the hell is Waka Flocka Flame? Agree with Carmen over MIA. Flavor Flav beating King T? I don't know, man. Flav was much more of a hype man than a rapper. He did rap once in a while, like on 911 is a Joke, but I can't put him on the same level as King T when it comes to rapping skills. Flav is of course an icon and probably the best hype man ever, but I don't think he can out-rap King T. Nicki Minaj over Shad. Lyrically, Shad is way superior. Not just in terms of content, but also when it comes to rhyme schemes, punchlines, vocabulary, storytelling, meaning, and overall wittiness. Music-wise, I was never really a fan of Nicki's catalog. You can't be mad at me for not bumping quote-unquote bad bitch music on a daily basis. I don't know if I can name 5 songs of her that I genuinely like. In terms of beat selection, Nicki has of course the advantage. Impact and influence-wise, I would also give it to her. Shad doesn't really have as big of a role in hip-hop as Nicki Minaj. I prefer Shad's flow, his overall sound, his delivery, and like I said, he's way more skilled in my opinion. Kevin Gates is not better than Wise Intelligent. In no category. I think I already explained you enough what I think about Kevin Gates' music. Every song from him sounds the same. No diversity, no originality, not much content, just the same old, made it out of nothing, and now I'm rich and wealthy. Basic lyrics that are supposed to motivate the listener. The same auto-tuned hooks, and every song is basically structured the same, from the beats to the hooks and the overall topic. Wise Intelligent is a pioneer for what people call conscious hip-hop. And he made music that I go back to on a regular basis. Much more lyrical, better flows, more impactful, more meaning in his rhymes, better vocabulary, and basically superior in every aspect. And Redman is of course better than Eve. Round 3. I agreed with pretty much everything except for the Flavor Flav and Nicki Minaj placement. As much as I hate Nicki as a rapper, I don't think Flav could out-rap her even in his prime. He wasn't really that much of a rapper. Chuck D was basically the lyricist in Public Enemy. Flav only rapped for a couple of times, and aside from that, he only did the ad-libs. Let's give this round to Nicki, even if her music is trash and cancerous to some extent. Her pen game is indeed superior. G-Rap far better than Gaddafi, and I'm glad that Waka Flocka is finally eliminated. Which means Common is in the semi-finals, along with Redman, who took out Kevin Gates, another motherfucker that made it too high in the tournament.
I'm not hating. I don't hate anybody up here. All of these guys are my peers.
Anyway, in the semi-finals you voted for Kool G Rap over Common Sense, which was the right thing to do in my opinion, and I also agree with Redman over Flavor Flav. But then in the finals you made him beat Kool G Rap, which I personally disagree with. Don't get me wrong, Redman is a top TMC, top 20 I would say. But G-Rap is such an important figure to hip-hop, I'm pretty sure he was a big influence for Redman as well. He was a member of the Juice Crew in the 80s and became one of the most skilled and innovative MCs of all time. He made multisyllabic rhyming more popular with legends like Rakim and Big Daddy Kane. They took rap to the next level and are the reason why lyricism played such a huge role in the late 80s and 90s. He also had long rhyme chains that sometimes go on for entire verses. Amazing storytelling, punchlines, wordplay, freestyling skills, and he also pioneered mafioso rap. Basically made gangster rap popular in the East Coast. You know, Schoolie D more or less invented it, but G-Rap took it to the next level, in New York at least. That's where people like Nas, Jay-Z, the Notorious B.I.G, Raekwon the Chef, I mean the whole Junior Mafia clique, Rockefeller, The Firm, got their inspiration from, when it comes to the whole Mafia, Don, Capo image. I mean gangster rap was different on both coasts. On the west you had the thug and gang member image, and on the east the mafiosi image. G-Rap also inspired the underground scene, and rappers who call themselves real lyricists. When it comes to feature verses and collaborations, G-Rap is also known for out-rapping everyone else on the record. Like Nas for example on Fast Life. Even when he jumped on Cannabis's Allied Metaforces, when he more or less was past his prime, he still managed to outshine him on his own song, and Cannabis is one of the illest lyricists of all time, so not everybody can do that. Matter of fact, when Cannabis did a collab with Redman on the Lost Boys joint Beasts from the East, Cannabis actually annihilated Redman on the song. And Reggie wasn't playing on that record. That was actually one of his best verses, but still. G-Rap basically out-rapped the guy who out-rapped Redman, even when he was past his prime, when Cannabis reached his lyrical peak.
Anytime, going up against a Cannabis or somebody like that, that's a challenge, you know what I'm saying? So it's exciting.
G-Rap and Cannabis bodied a long list of rappers. Those two are basically at the top of the food chain when it comes to collaboration verses. Music-wise, it's of course debatable. I love G-Rap's catalog to the same degree as I love Reggie Noble's catalog. Not having G-Rap in the top 10 or top 15 is unthinkable for me. You might as well call him the GOAT. G-Rap in his prime could probably crush any MC. It's sad that he only made it to the top 64, but at least we have Redman in the top 32. Bracket 23. K-Solo versus Mad Ox. Of course we gotta go with K-Solo. Too Short also better than Laquelle. Agree with Rick Ross over Yo-Yo, although I'm not a fan of either one of them. I couldn't stand Ross when I first heard him in the mid-2000s. And he appeared on numerous worst rappers lists of mine between 2008 and 2016. Mainly because I thought they were overrated, and got too much praise and love from dick riders who were making them out to be top tier MCs. Ross is not the only rapper from that era who got that level of love. I think you know the rappers I'm talking about that took over the game in the mid to late 2000s, and that never really received much praise from me. I don't wanna bring him up all the time, but my fans know who I'm talking about. I couldn't stand them back then, but I began to appreciate at least a fraction of their work, when the game became even more watered down, and when even worse rappers emerged in the 2010s. Still wouldn't call them great MCs though. I never really saw Rick Ross as one of the lyrical dudes, or as a skilled MC that rivals legends from the 80s and 90s. He was actually one of the worst lyricists of his era, but compared to today's standards, I would call him mediocre. Back then I called anyone trash who was a worse lyricist than Ross, and over the years I started to set the bar lower and lower, even though I probably shouldn't. Necro is a lyrical beast and shouldn't lose to somebody like a Young Nudie. Self Jupiter from Freestyle Fellowship, worlds better than whack-ass Lil Mosey. Quavo from the Migos over Boldy James. In terms of what? Drip? Ice? Flexing? Fuck outta here. No, I'm not the biggest Cage fan, but you're gonna tell me that Bow Wow was a better rapper? He had T.I., Jadakiss, The Brat, Corrupt, and dozen other MCs ghostwriting for him, even in his quote-unquote prime. You're gonna tell me that the same guy who's unable to out-rap himself when he was 13 years old can out-rap Cage? A guy who quote-unquote inspired Eminem? I guess M was inspired by the wrong person. Agree with Kevin Abstract from Brockhampton over Black, also with Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest over Ian Dior, Isaiah Rashad over Icewear Vezo, but Nicki Minaj clone Erica Banks over lyricist and battle MC Idea is a terrible take in my opinion. T.Y. $sign better than Jean Grey? Really? Jean Grey is a lyrical beast with one of the largest vocabularies in hip-hop. She's also a dope storyteller, but she can't sing, so Youngboy better. Agree with Special One from the Conscious Daughters over Cupcake. JPEG Mafia definitely better than Julio, but we are once again putting melodic rappers over highly skilled lyricists. Too Surf is worlds better than 24K Golden, but you made Chris Brown and T.Y. $sign win, and over 20 battle MCs lose in the first round, so I shouldn't be surprised. We really don't care about rapping skills anymore, do we? All you need is beats, melodies, and catchy hooks, and you're already a top tier rapper of this generation. Too Surf would make mincemeat out of him if they ever competed. Shaquille O'Neal, as some of you may know, had a rapping career in the 90s. Wasn't the most skilled rapper, but he did have some great songs. Afro Man is kind of like Biz Markie, a joke rapper. I think Shaquille might be a little better, but mainly because Afro Man's jokes get boring real quick. Round 2. Too Short over K-Solo. Debatable. Too Short has definitely more hits and more of an impact. He was one of the first rappers on the West Coast. But K-Solo is the overall more skilled MC in my opinion. When it comes to flows, rhyme schemes, energy, punchlines, and just raw rhymes in general. Agree with Rick Ross over Young Nudie, but Quavo is once again beating rappers that would turn him to Swiss cheese in a battle.
Nah, you don't want no drummer boy. I eat a nigga ass like an almond joy. I eat a nigga ass like an almond joy.
Self Jupiter can wrap circles around this fool. Kevin Abstract definitely better than Bow Wow. Q-Tip is one of the GOATs, so it's not a surprise that he defeated Isaiah Rashad. We finally got rid of Erica Banks. Peggy over Special One is agreeable, and Shaquille O'Neal beating 24K Golden is also good to see. Round 3. Rick Ross over Too Short. Disagree. Mainly because of Too Short's impact, his role in hip hop, and because I prefer his music. As I said earlier, he was one of the first rappers on the West Coast, rapping since the early 80s. I actually did a video on this, which you should definitely check out. Highly influential, more important to the culture, better music, more authentic and believable lyrics, better style, better delivery, and also more skilled in terms of storytelling. The song The Ghetto is also one of the greatest rap songs of all time. Nothing in Officer Ross's catalog can come close. Glad that Quavo is finally out against Kevin Abstract. Q-Tip beating T.Y. $sign is also great to see, but Shaquille O'Neal is not better than JPEG Mafia. Peggy's music is not for everybody, especially if you're an old head like me, who prefers more traditional sounding rap music like Boom Bap. I don't like most of his music, but he does occasionally drop some cool songs. As long as the beat and the vocals aren't all over the place, which happens all the time with Peggy's music, and as long as he's not experimenting with drugs before or while recording his vocals. His lyrics can be more advanced than Shaq's, not on every song, cause like I said, a lot of his songs are stupid and crazy BS, made for skinny white boys who don't even like traditional sounding rap music. Shaq was never even in the conversation for being one of the greats of this culture. I don't think anyone has him in their top 100. I wouldn't even include him in my top 1000 to be honest. But let's move on to the semi-finals. Rick Ross better than Kevin Abstract. Status and impact wise, yes. Music wise it's debatable, but skill wise I would have to go with Kevin. I don't like Brockhampton's music as much as I used to. And Rick Ross's music is still mediocre to me, with some exceptions. And Q-Tip is objectively a better rapper than Shaquille O'Neal, who made it to the top 128, ladies and gentlemen. In the finals you rank Q-Tip over Rick Ross. So Rick Ross made it to the top 64 and Q-Tip to the top 32. Bracket 24, Ja Rule the Damager vs Ill Will. Both great lyricists, but obviously Ja Rule has the upper hand when it comes to accomplishments in the genre, status, and of course catalog. He has two classic albums, The Sun Rises in the East and Wrath of the Math. Love his style, his wordplay, his metaphorical stories, and thought-provoking song concepts, like for example on One Day or You Can't Stop the Prophet. Very creative, unique, and diverse. He also battled at one point, but I think it's clear that Ill Will would crush him lyrically. I mean, he dedicated his life to battling. But we know that Ja Rule can lyrically defend himself quite well on records. He would most likely produce the better battle record. Ja Rule is a legend in the game, who has done more for hip-hop, with a career that lasted over 35 years. Next, Geologic over Cap G. Also agree with Denzel over T-Top, but D-Smoke is not on Conceited's level. He would easily tear him to shreds when they were to compete. Conceited's pen game is just leagues ahead in my opinion. Brother Lin Chung definitely better than Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. Tim Dog, worlds better than Flo Milli, who's easily the most annoying XXL freshman of all time. Big Psych from the original Thug Life, also better than Almighty J. Jazzo versus Donis, have to go with Jazz, the mentor of Jay-Z, who was a pioneer of the triplet flow. He was basically adding more syllables to each bar while increasing the pace of the flow. And he influenced a lot of lyricists, not just his student Jay-Z, but also the Fushnikins, Das Effects, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Spice One, Twista, and Tech 9. Basically giving birth to the Choppa style flow. Now, of course he wasn't the only one doing it, but he rarely gets credit for what he has done for hip-hop. Agree with Sadat X from Brand Nubian over Pastor Troy. Don't know about Maxo Cream and Snow the Products. I don't like either one of them, to be honest. Snow might be the better lyricist, but her music is way worse in my opinion. Way too corny for me to listen to. Maxo Cream's music is very generic and one-dimensional. I know about 100 rappers that sound exactly the same, but I would rather bump his music than Snow the Products. A$AP Rock over Hurricane Chris. Busy B, as much as I respect him for being one of the OGs and pioneers of the genre, was never really a skilled rapper. More like a party MC that would take rhymes from other MCs to rock the crowd, which is ironic because nowadays almost every new rapper gets help from other people. But Busy B was part of one of the most important moments in hip-hop, when he battled MC Kool Moe Dee from the Treacherous 3. That was kind of a turning point for hip-hop, which was basically just disco music back then. Kool Moe Dee beating him gave birth to the Lyrical MC in 1981. Before that, not everybody was trying to be a lyricist, and it was definitely not easy to go from a 0 to 100 lyrically. It required a lot of practice and skill, and was a long learning process. The era of everybody biting each other, basically the era Busy B represented, was kind of a thing of the past from that point on. And I know what you will say, biting made a comeback, and rappers are once again copying each other in the mainstream to increase their popularity. Rap, quote-unquote, evolved backwards. But Immaculate is basically the most advanced version of that evolution. Busy B's style is rusty and can't really compete. Count Bass D has way more material than Nicki D, so I can't understand why I would rank it this way. She was the first female rapper signed to Def Jam. Sad that she only had one album. I think she was pretty dope, music-wise and also lyrically. I would even say that she could beat Count Bass D in a battle. His rapping style and pace is just slower. He almost sounds sleepy and as if he's just talking over beats. Nicki D was way more aggressive, had more energy and a far better flow and delivery in my opinion. If we're talking prime against prime, I would probably give this round to Nicki D. Evidence from Dilated Peoples, Worlds Better Than Tokyo's Revenge, Uncommon NASA over Space Ghost Perp, and Nas over One Hit Wonder Young Juck. Round 2, J. Rue the Damager over Geologic, Denzel Curry over D Smoke, Tim Dog over Brother Lynch Hung, but Big Syke is not better than Jaz-O. Syke was never really a lyricist or an innovator in rap music. Jaz did have a larger impact on the game, and when we're talking about rapping skills and battling, Jaz-O got this in my opinion. I mean, Jaz out-rapped Jay-Z in his prime. I agree with Sadat X from Brand Nubian over Max Supreme. A$AP Rock definitely better than Busy B. Evidence I would say is also better than Count Bass D. And Nas winning against Uncommon NASA shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Round 3, disagree with Denzel over J. Rue. J. Rue is the better MC in my opinion, in terms of catalog, creativity, pen game, and impact. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like going back to Denzel's catalog. I find myself not liking the projects the way I used to when they dropped. Nostalgic 64, Zoo, Unlocked, and even his best ones, Taboo and Imperial, there are way more filler songs and skips than I remember it having. And even the hits and the high points of the albums lack replay value. I really hope that changes with his next album. I don't have the same problem with J. Rue's music, it aged like fine wine to me, and I've been listening to it ever since I found out about him a decade and a half ago. I also prefer the production. In terms of technical skills, I would say it's a draw, although Denzel's flow might be a little more advanced. Content and creativity wise, I might give it to J. Rue though. He plays a lot more with metaphors, complex stories and deep song concepts, and is just a more advanced writer in my opinion. But Denzel is definitely one of the best of the past 10 years. Anyway, Big Syke is not on the level of Tim Dog rapping wise. A$AP Rock I would say is indeed better than Sadat X in terms of rapping skills, but I personally prefer Brand Nubian's music. And Nas is of course better than Evidence.
Murder game, I leave no evidence.
Let's move on to the semifinals. Denzel definitely better than Big Syke, and Nas is overall the better MC compared to A$AP Rock. A$AP Rock has the largest vocabulary in hip hop, so it's not like Nas is superior in every aspect of rapping. But I think in terms of songwriting, delivery, battling, punchlines, metaphors, storytelling, coming up with creative and one-of-a-kind song concepts, and when it comes to enjoyability overall, Nas takes this round in my opinion. His music is just easier to digest, sophisticated but not trying too hard to sound smart. It's not like somebody's reading you a dictionary like with A$AP Rock, who does come off as a lyrical miracle type of rapper who just tries to flex with his vocabulary without having much to say, or an interesting story that grabs your attention. This is especially important in live performances. You'll lose your audience if they can't rap along your lyrics and don't understand what you're talking about. Nas also has the better discography, is the better live performer, and in a battle I would also put my money on him. Don't think that A$AP Rock could drop a diss track that's better than Ether or Don't Body Yourself. A$AP Rock also doesn't have classic hip hop anthems like Nas does. Most rap fans can't even enjoy his music. It sounds like corny gibberish to most people. So Nas takes this round in my opinion. And you also picked him against Denzel Curry in the finals. Definitely agree with this one. Denzel is not on Nas' level, but he made it to the top 64 and Nas to the top 32. Anyway, that was it for part 3 of this tournament. So far we covered bracket 1 to 24. Check out the previous 2 parts for the first 16 brackets if you haven't already. And stay tuned for part 4 for bracket 25 to 32. See you in the next video.